All right, good evening, everyone. We got 5:31. We'll go ahead and get started with public forum. It is Monday, November 6th, 2023. We are here for public forum this evening. If you have an electronic device, cell phone, iPad, what have you, if you'll just make sure you put the ringer and all the sound on vibrate or quiet or silent so it won't disturb the meeting this evening. Just a reminder, public forum is an opportunity for the public to come up and address the board about county-related issues that may not be on the agenda. If you want to speak during public forum on something that is on tonight's agenda, you can certainly do so, but you'll forfeit your opportunity to speak on it then. So you just won't be able to speak on the same item twice. Just a reminder, please be respectful of whoever's at the podium and whoever has the microphone and the floor at the time. Public forum, you'll get an opportunity to speak for 4 minutes. Right now I have 5 people signed up. If there's other people that wish to speak, if you'll make sure to sign up. But up first, I've got Jerry Cooey, and when you approach the microphone, push the square button on the base. That'll light up green. That'll mean the mic is hot, and just provide your name and city for the record. The floor is yours.
Meeting. Jerry Cooey, Milton, Florida. This is a follow-up from 2 weeks ago. A statement was made by Mr. Calkins that there was waste in the budget. And I asked Mr. Calkins to back it up tonight. I've reviewed the agenda, and I don't see anything on there. I've talked with most of the staff members, and I don't think any of them has had any interaction. So let me say this. It's not really my place to do it, but I think you all deserve an apology, staff, commissioners. This is everybody's budget. I think it's a good budget. I spent a lot of time personally on the budget myself. I encourage you to keep up the good work and ignore rhetoric when it gets spewed up here. Thank you.
All right. I'm going to try to pronounce this last name correctly. D. Rydleski.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Dee Rydleski from Escambia County. I live in Pensacola in the Windrose subdivision, and I'm here to support flood defenders. I'm here to address your board, and I may not be a voter in your county, but because you're our sister county, I felt the need to come over here and speak. I also have 59,000 reasons to speak, because we spend a lot of money in this county. We pay taxes when we buy trucks. We pay taxes when we eat out, when we play, recreation. Flooding does not respect jurisdictional lines drawn by man, politicians, or government. Flooding does not recognize party affiliations, rich or poor. When we flood, we flood. I'm asking you, gentlemen, to please think about going forward with NOAA Atlas 14 in your design and build. As a grandma, Chris Kerb has taught me a lot in 3 years to stand up for what's right. So I'm here tonight to ask you to do the right thing for the citizens of your county, as well as my county, because we are sister counties. We all matter. It doesn't matter who we are, or what parties we have, or what we think. We need to do the right things for the citizens who put you gentlemen in your seats. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris Kerb.
Thank you, Commissioner. This evening, I'm going to try to change my advocacy tactics. I'm going to try to play nice in the sandbox. Effective January 1st, FDOT 2024 Drainage Manual references only NOAA Atlas 14 data set for stormwater designs and no longer includes FDOT's 1979 archived IDF rainfall data. Santa Rosa County approved the Land Development Code on 10/26 BCC meeting with an effective date of January 1st. That includes a reference to FDOT Zone 1 rainfall data set. In effect, no longer exist. It's almost a half a century old. Considering this, we the people, represented here by flood defenders, respectfully wish to encourage the board to reconsider NOAA Atlas 14 as a data set standard in your land development code prior to the effective date of January 1st. We also request this be added to Thursday's agenda to further BCC discussions and a vote. Can I get a second on that? What does it take for Santa Rosa County to listen to the logic and the sound practice in your land development code? Do we need to circulate a petition like the Fowlers did so you can get alternate subdivisions out of your code that doesn't protect the people? Commissioner Wright, for the record, I think you'll recall that I did play nice in the sandbox for flood defenders for quite a while, until staff held meetings with opposing developer engineers outside the sunshine regarding LDC technical standards and failed to show me the same respect I shared. Those meetings resulted in proposed land development revisions to exclude NOAA Atlas 14 after it had been in the code since March and after a Channel 3 August 22 interview that said it was going to be in there. I felt it necessary to change advocacy tactics to bring the light to what appeared to be hidden from the public because your ears were already closed to the information I was trying to share. I'm doing this for the people. I'm not doing it for my own agenda. Sorry, I'm not a good lobbyist, but I'm doing the best I can to learn advocacy for the people. I am an engineer, Commissioner Wright. I'm not licensed. Florida statute allows me to call myself an engineer as long as I don't put professional or civil in front of it, but I do have a degree from Auburn University. Florida statute's 471.031. 3 in parentheses. 25 years with the Escambia County Engineering Department. I learned a lot and I earned the unofficial title of Stormwater Guru. So I am owed a little respect in this dais. 25 years of Escambia County Engineering. Well, all I got to tell you is flooding matters, just ask NOAA. And I'm not talking about NOAA and the flood. I'm talking about National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, where your federal agency that you pay taxes on has provided modernized rainfall data for the science of hydrology that you choosing to ignore. Or you can read Genesis 6 about Noah and the flood. I questioned that when I was in Sunday school. Why did the Lord destroy the creation like he did with the flood? You can answer that if you read Genesis 6.
Thank you, Mr. Kerr. We appreciate your comments. Ms. Sherry Chapman.
Sherry Chapman, Pace, Florida. I'd like to start off with letting Mr. Parker know that the government expects the same thing out of any of us that do a project. So last meeting, when you got all sideways about what the government is requiring you to do, welcome to the club. Because all of us have the same criteria. However, I can say that I've never built anything without pulling a permit first. So before you get all wadded up in your panties over it, you need to look out front of you and see who is in front of you that is abiding by the law and not griping. Our land development code legally will hold the 5 of you accountable. Citizens get up, and you might not like how many times we come up here, but a lot of times we're up here for the record, so that when things go awry down the road, we can prove that we have said in a public forum that this is a problem. So don't chastise us for coming up here as many times as we need to get something on the record. The three commissioners in the middle, Mr. Parker, Mr. Wright, and Mr. Calkins, to say that you work for the citizens of this county is a little bit off base. You had over 100 here last time from Navarre asking you to not approve something. You seem to be more worried about a lawsuit than you were to do what the citizens in front of you are asking. You had only 3 people here that were for it, and that was the people that were doing the project. So to say, we don't see people in these meetings, they're not coming to the meeting. Well, I can tell you right now, most everybody thinks that it was a waste of time last time, and I can see their point. You guys get paid, and I can tell you, the 3 of you that are running for office, y'all better have a whole lot of dough, because it's going to take a whole lot. Because people are tired of talking out both sides of your mouth and changing it when it suits your position. Colton, I think the scathing that you did of a citizen, whether he's from Santa Rosa, Escambia, Okaloosa, if he is helping the citizens of this county and trying to make it better, I think the last time we pay any of you, one of the last things we pay for any of you to do is to berate a citizen. And we don't pay you your salary. Y'all are the 3 part-time commissioners. I want to make that clear. We're not going to have part-time commissioners from here on out. So that's another thing. Y'all get paid a good salary to tolerate your employees, your employer. And I can tell you, I doubt any of y'all have ever worked any place that's or been a owner of a business, as all of you say, and one of your employees back up and mouth off like y'all have. I can tell you they would not be there the next day. Unfortunately, Mr. Calkins made sure, or may have had a very big part in popping off recall, but we're not done. We will get the citizens' voice to be able to recall, and this election is going to tell you exactly how we feel. But I want to tell you, we don't appreciate it. Our yards look like crap because we're up here fighting you guys.
Thank you, Ms. Chapman. And I stand behind the words I said at that meeting for sticking up for our county staff that were misrepresented. They were accused of things they didn't do. And I will always stick up for staff and do the right thing. Ms. Hawthorne? Mr. Kerb, is there a reason you're standing?
Yeah, I'm standing because my back hurts.
Okay. I hope it gets better. Go ahead, Ms. Hawthorne. Yeah, push it once. There you go. It's green. It's good.
I haven't been in a while, and I'm sorry. I apologize, because this is really important to me. I love my country. I love my county. I love my state. I love my community. And I see evidence of it going downhill. We have flooding in areas that never flooded before, and it would behoove staff or somebody to investigate why. Now, I have a theory. I can't prove that my theory is correct, but I think it is. Clear cutting is a horrible idea. The roots of those trees actually hold the soil, soak in the moisture, and then take in carbon dioxide. Take in carbon dioxide to make their green leaves and to produce, and then they give us something we can't live without, and that's oxygen. Now, folks, I want to tell you something. I watched a meeting the last meeting, and I was so disappointed in two of my commissioners. Colton, I've never known you to be disrespectful before, but you were highly. I don't care what your excuse is. These people employ you. You do not have the right to talk down to people. You can take them aside and say, look, you should not have said this about a staff member, but you don't castigate the people out here in this audience because you're angry. And Sam, I was real disappointed in you. I mean, y'all are laying government on us like crazy, and yet you were fussing about government being laid on you. You know, personally, I don't think y'all ought to have a right to say what I do on my property. You don't pay my taxes. You don't pay my insurance. You don't pay when I have disrepair. So I personally don't think that you should have the right to say anything. But somebody in their infinite wisdom decided that they were going to zone this place. Okay, we all followed the zoning. And now, y'all are changing the zoning for certain people. It's not right. The people that purchase their property under the old zoning deserve the same respect that anybody would ask for you to look at their neighbors the same way you looked at them. If you required them to have 4 acres to build a house or 1 acre to build a house, their neighbors, the people that's purchasing land, should be held to that same standard. The other thing I want to say is if your house flooded, I don't think you'd be arguing about flood defenders. I think you'd be standing with us. I'm blessed. I live in Brownsdale. I live up in Jay, and I have not had flooding. But I see so many people saying that their house flooded, never flooded before. There was one man here, came, and this was in glorious Mr. Peach's way. The man had brought the issue time and time again about flooding in his community, and Mr. Peach told him that he could not speak to that issue. He'd have to wait till Tuesday, and we were expecting a huge rainfall that weekend. The man was asking for pumps to try to save his neighborhood. You talk about Peach only listening to the people twice, I think you're probably right. But that's not why he was not reelected.
Thank you, Ms. Hawthorne. For the record, I'll just let you guys know, because I think I've said it in this boardroom before, I did have my house flood. Took 18 inches of water in the house during Hurricane Ivan. Lost every shoe, lost 2 vehicles, lost every photograph I owned. So I know what flooding is. Difference is I also understand that there's nothing I could do to prevent that flood. And since the sign-up sheet is done, I just want to remind everyone that there were numerous conversations with you, Mr. Kerb. When you were presented with facts, you chose to ignore them. We talked with other engineers. You yourself had talked with myself. You talked with Brad Baker. We discussed things. We talked about the range of NOAA Atlas 14. We talked about a number of things.
That I
Yep.
emailed to you, you will have an understanding of that.
Sir, you don't have the floor.
I know I don't have the floor. You're doing
But people are not
something-
entitled to their own facts. And I think it is unfair to attack staff, and I will always defend staff. That's the 5 people we had signed up to speak. Is there anyone else that wishes to sign up to speak for public forum?
I'd like to speak some more since you called me.
Okay.
out.
In that case, the 5 people signed up. Public forum is adjourned, and we'll begin the regular meeting at 6:30. All right, good evening. It's Monday, November 6th, 2023. I've got 6:32 p.m. We're here for a Commissioner Committee meeting. I'll call the meeting to order. As always, we start our meetings with prayer and a pledge. Thank you, sir. If you have a cell phone or electronic device, if you'll please put it on vibrate or silent so it doesn't disturb the meeting. We start all of our meetings in Santa Rosa County with a prayer and a pledge. So we'll ask Commissioner Calkins if he'll lead us in prayer, and then Commissioner Parker if you'll lead us in the pledge, sir. Please stand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Please bow your heads. Lord, we want to thank you so much for letting us live in the greatest country on planet Earth, the United States of America. Lord, please be with the folks in Israel. Please be with those hostages. Free those hostages in Jesus' name. Please be with them, protect them, get them out of harm's way, and be with our troops. Be with the Israeli troops. Help them to fight against evil and help them to win. Lord, we ask you to be with our military, be with our first responders. Please be with our police officers. Please help us make right decisions with the county commission, and please help us serve our citizens in the way that you want us to, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
Join me in a pledge of allegiance to our nation's flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first up, agenda approval. I'll start to my right with Commissioner Smith. Are there any changes, sir? Commissioner
No
Parker?
changes.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
No changes, sir.
All right, I've got one item staff reached out to me about earlier. You guys should all have a copy of an agenda item in front of you. It's going to go under Economic Development and Tourist Development Committee. So just going to add that one item on that's in front of you there. It's just for a letter of support. So we'll add that in to the regular agenda, and then we can discuss it at that time. If there's no other changes, we'll accept the agenda as presented with that minor change. And we'll move on to the minutes. Minutes from the September 18th, 2023 Land Development Code Workshop, as well as the September 19th, 2023 Budget Workshop. Are there any concerns or changes to those minutes? Seeing none, we'll adopt those as presented without objection. And we'll move to County Administrator. DeVan?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We wanted to talk about the emergency burn ban that was enacted on the 31st, and I've spoken with Tom Lloyd at Emergency Management. The Division of Forestry has requested that we continue that burn ban. I'm thinking at least through Friday when we're predicted to get some rain. The humidity's still very low and we're very dry, so that's the request if you the board would approve it.
All right, so you gentlemen understand that and saw that we have a burn ban in effect, and Division of Forestry and as well as Tom Lloyd came to DeVan and myself late last week, and we're concerned with the drought conditions, and it's rare. As a matter of fact, I think it may be the first time that the state's come to us and said we've got some serious concerns about burning. So at that point, we made a kind of a command decision, being it was a bit of an emergency at that time for me to go ahead and sign it, and administration and to agree with it. But we didn't feel comfortable to take it past today without board approval. I felt like it didn't want to override the board's authority. So they're asking us to extend it through Friday, November 10th, hoping to get some rain that day. Hope that may change some things. Are there any concerns with extending that? Okay. So in that case, we'll just move to extend that through Friday, November 10th without objection. All right. On to commissioner items. Commissioner Smith.
Yes, sir. Well, I've had a vacancy on the loss committee for some time now, and I've been trying to find somebody to fill that spot. And as Providence has it, talking to Claude Duvall, which is a very good candidate for this. He's a very respected businessman in the community, and he's agreed to volunteer his services, which I appreciate everybody that's on our volunteer boards. It's a big calling, and it's it's a big responsibility, and it's something that I really appreciate, and I really appreciate him stepping up, and I'd like to ask this board to join me in approving Claude Duval to the Lost Oversight Committee. I'll do that without objection, but if anybody wanted to speak, go ahead.
I just want to say what a fantastic pick, Commissioner Smith. Claude Duvall is a great man, a businessman, a man that knows this county by the back of his hand, and so I'm very impressed with the pick, and I'll be gladly supporting your pick. Thank you.
Yeah, so I certainly support Claude. I would just say maybe that's something, I know we had talked about historically not really voting on Mondays. I would just maybe say, just add that to the consent agenda for Thursday.
I forgot what day it was. Remember, I just got off of vacation.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is
Would I
Monday.
support putting that on Thursday's consent agenda?
Put it on to Thursday's consent agenda, and I'll do that without objection.
All right, so moved.
I did just want to say something under Commissioner items, and I think Claude's an awesome guy too, but had the opportunity, I know probably a lot of y'all have, some of you haven't, but it's really, I would say kudo to James. Honestly, it's kudo to Rebecca, and I got to drive through the red light is now fully operational there on Lower Norris Road, and Pine Blossom, did I say that right? Yeah. And man, that's just crazy. I've lived here my whole life, and you know, I remember it was like a big deal when you get a flashing light, and you've always heard about that, you know, and obviously that was something that was pushed for, and it's a great thing in Commissioner Calkins' district, and I think it's going to be a big safety thing. But I just wanted to acknowledge, I know Rebecca and her team play fits usually with just getting all the parts and the contractors, but it was nice to drive through there and see that. So I just want to say congratulations and thank y'all for doing that.
Excellent. I've got two quick things under Commissioner items, kind of a housekeeping. Number one, just let you know, gentlemen, that I won't be here Thursday. I'll be leaving tomorrow morning for a trip with my wife that we've had scheduled for about 18 months. So I won't be at Thursday's meeting. Secondly, I want to update you guys on the trip to Washington, D.C. that Shannon Ogletree and I took last week. It was a very productive trip. It was quick, up and back very quickly, but we met with folks from the Secretary of Navy's office to discuss Whiting Field and some future developments at that installation. Met with Colonel Hanan and Mauricio Castro with the OLDCC office, and that's the organization that facilitates the DCIP grant, which, you know, we recently received one of those. We met with our county lobbyist, Ed Graber, and Chad Bradley as well, and they helped facilitate a number of meetings with staff and really helped us get our foot in the door very quickly on short notice. Met with Federal Highway Administration. Commissioner Eddington, you'll be glad to know we had some very good discussion about Navarre Beach Bridge and what future funding opportunities would be. So we really just discussed a path forward. They gave us some better understanding of what's out there that we really just didn't realize, that there's some funds that we may be able to go after. So anytime we can do that and try to share that cost where it's not all borne on the backs of the Santa Rosa County residents, it was just very promising conversation there. Also met with staff for Senator Scott and Senator Rubio to discuss appropriations for some projects that we had already requested. They confirmed that those appropriations are shored up on the Senate side for us. And then we also met with Congressman Gates about appropriation for the hangar at Whiting Field, and also discussed future of Navarre Beach Bridge. And I know he's reached out to, I saw an email, he'd reached out to myself and Commissioner Eddington about that. So just want to brief you guys on what happened in DC, let everyone know, why we were up there, and that we're definitely moving the needle. And I think if you guys have some conversations with Shannon, I think he'll fill you in a little more detail. But just want to provide everyone an update on that. On Thursday at the regular meeting, we'll have two presentations. We'll have a Veterans Day proclamation. So you gentlemen will get to decide who wants to do that one. And then there'll also be a Tourist Development Office annual update. We'll move on to the consent agenda. I trust everyone's had time to review the consent agenda. A lot of sausage making there. It's all pretty much just budget amendments. A lot of cash carry forwards from one year to the next. Are there concerns with the consent agenda as presented? Seeing none, we'll accept The consent agenda as presented without objection. We'll move on to the regular agenda. Sure, if you'd like to speak about a specific budget amendment. Ms. Chapman? Sorry, when you were signed up, it said stormwater, so.
That's number 16 is the one that I wanted to talk about, which is the budget amendment for Metron Estates. The point that the citizens are trying to get across is that we have not got drainage under control in this county. We have issues. And we feel when we are not using the latest available criteria, we will continue to have it. On 2 projects, Metron Estates and Tiburon, we spent $12.5 million fixing what we thought we got right, but we didn't. So I just want to make a point that this is why citizens are so adamant, is because this is our tax dollars fixing it the second time.
Ms. Chapman, I just got a quick question. So just so we're clear on item 16, budget amendment 2024-047, cash carry forward for Metron Estates Drainage Project, to carry forward $3.167 million to recognize the HMGP grant. Are you for that or against it?
I'm for it because we've got to clean up our mess,
Okay.
that what we didn't get right the first time.
Thank
And
you.
we've already spent some on it. We're having to spend
Got it.
additional.
Yeah, this is just a budgetary issue, accounting and housekeeping. Commissioner Parker?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry to take a moment of the meeting, but I do think it is important because I've learned that we've got a growing audience of people that watch the meetings, and I've been urged, and I think y'all have seen emails too, by some of the citizens that say it's kind of an injustice to people when we don't, maybe, what was it, Walter Cronkite that said the rest of the story? So, Metron Estates, I can tell you when you talk about the people and flooding, and really nobody can tell you as good as Jeff Helms, because nobody spent as much time with the families that have suffered as he has. But I can tell you, I drove by there in 2017, and that summer, as people were ripping out furniture and carpet out of their house, and I had only been in office for about 6 months, and the board at that time, as I urged to, hey, let's move forward, and I'm thankful for Commissioner Rob Williamson at the time that says, yeah, let's not wait on grants. Let's go ahead and start the process. That neighborhood was built, a large portion of it was built before I was even alive. And so, yeah, we're fixing things of the past, and I think it's important for people to hear that. That was the past. That was over 40 years ago. There was no stormwater design. Thankfully, Roger Blaylock started working on getting stormwater design, I think around 96. And then we've added to it. And Tiburon Estates was another unfortunate project that, it got approved. We had a tremendous rainfall, that same rainfall event. We had a few homes flood there in Tiburon. And then we had homes that flooded further south down in Florida town. So I just want to point out, and Tiburon was built shortly after I graduated high school. So we're definitely fixing things, but I just didn't want it to sound like we're fixing things that anybody on this board has been a part of. And, I appreciate, I shout out to Jeff Helms. I know Rebecca's worked on it, but this man has spent time with those families to help us get easements and get right-of-ways. And the only person on this whole staff that may have been there with me at the time that might be here tonight would have been Sarah, back when we went and met with the folks at Tiburon right there in the middle of the neighborhood. And they had a little passive park, and it's now been turned into a retention pond. But I just want to say thank you to everybody that's worked on this project to try to stop that flooding. It's unfortunate. There's a lot of people in there that had flooded 3 times, prior to me ever even being elected, because again, that neighborhood's been there so long. But I understand some of the restraints that this board had in decades ago with not having the money to fix that. And I just wanted that. I think that is important, and I think it's great. I love the fact that we have citizens that are willing to come up here and boldly state their positions. I think that's an important part of the First Amendment, but I just also feel compelled as an elected official that does represent many people in the community to at least, give you all the rest of the story. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, and since we have two engineers sitting here, if we were to add NOAA Atlas 14 to the LDC today, does that do anything for Metron Estates?
No, it would not. That subdivision was constructed in 1972.
Fine, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the regular agenda. We'll start with the Economic Tourist Development Committee. Just as a reminder, we did add the 6th item on there. Item number 1, approval to appoint Kelly Gatto to the, and I hope I said that correctly. Julie's back there, she can tell me if I said it right. Okay, to the TDC Board of Directors until the expiration date of November 1, 2028. Are there any concerns, questions there? Not, I'd move approval, or I'd move that to Thursday's consent agenda without objection. See none, so moved. Item number 2, approval to appoint Marla Crum to the TDC Board of Directors until the expiration date of November 1, 2028. Are there any concerns or questions? Move that to Thursday's consent agenda without objection. Seeing none, so moved. Item number 3, approval of the proposed timeline for fiscal year 24-25 local event marketing grant, local event sponsorship program, and tax capital projects grant cycle. Are there any questions or concerns about that? Not, I will move that to Thursday's consent agenda without objection. Seeing none, so moved. Item number 4, this is some really nice good news. Approval of Florida Job Growth Grant Agreement with the State of Florida Department of Commerce in the amount of $4.2 million for the Whiting Aviation Park Taxiway and Taxi Lane Connection, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. It's basically just accepting a whole lot of money for that taxiway and apron connecting Whiting Aviation Park to Whiting Field. Are there any questions or comments about that? All right. I think a lot of people don't realize how big a deal that is, but it's
Yeah,
it's
that's a
big-
huge deal. I mean, I didn't want to comment by just saying that's a huge deal. but
It's huge,
you
and
can't
it's a big deal for the
huge.
Navy.
It's huge.
It's huge, as they would say. It's a very big league grant. So seeing no objection, I'll move that to Thursday's consent agenda without objection. So moved. Item number 5, approval to accept the bid from Damien's Realty for a 3-acre lot in the Northwest Florida Industrial Park at I-10, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Joe Manning from Damien's is here. I think he may want to mention something to the board.
Ice cream.
We just need to get a 12-step program for ice
Ice
cream.
cream.
We just need samples.
Because we're bringing all these ice cream makers in here.
Joe, if you'll reach down at the bottom of the base there, at the base of the microphone, there's a button. If you just push that, state your name and address for the record, then you're good.
Yeah, Joseph Manning, from.
You can let go of it.
I'm sorry?
You can let go.
Okay, great, thank you. Yeah, Joseph Manning, and business address 5100 Sycamore Drive in Pensacola, Florida, personal address at 417 Montrose Boulevard, Gulf Breeze. And thank you very much for the time. I promise I'll make it quick, but I wanted to at least take the opportunity to just thank you all for the opportunity to partner with Santa Rosa County. My family and I moved down here about 4 years ago, purchased the business, Damien's Enterprises. Many of you know Damien's Frozen Lemonade. And this is an offshoot of that organization. So we have a rich history of serving this community, and through Damien's Frozen Lemonade, the country. And it's a proud, rich history in the area for 47 years. So we didn't take the decision to leave Pensacola too very lightly, but we considered options as we were experiencing a tremendous growth with the organization. We considered options as far west as Baton Rouge. We looked at opportunities in Jacksonville. We spent some time in Tallahassee, even up in Cairo, Georgia for a little while. And ultimately, through a series of conversations and the great partnership opportunities that Santa Rosa County had provided, and a lot of great work, conversations, and time with Shannon and his team, we ultimately made the decision that Milton would be our home. So we're on we have the opportunity to double this business in what would have been a 6-year growth trajectory, and as recent develops would have it, we probably could double that again in the next 12 to 36 months. So it's an incredible growth trajectory we're on. When I purchased the business, we had 47 employees. We have 72 right now, and I think in a very short period of time that could be well over 100. And we're thrilled to have the opportunity to partner with Santa Rosa County. We're thrilled to become members of the community. We're thrilled to build not just a partnership, become good civil stewards and partners, and become part of the community. So we're moving not only the business here, but I've moved my family here. So we're really thrilled to have the opportunity to work with Santa Rosa County. I just wanted to say thank you for the partnership.
Joe, thank you. Some gentlemen, those of you that were at the the groundbreaking for Hershey's Creamery the other day, I guess 2 weeks ago now. Joe was there
Yeah.
to show support for what I think a lot of people would view as a competitor and show support for the industrial park. So I just want to say thank you. That showed a lot of class. Obviously they're asking for approval to accept the bid for the additional 3 acres because they need more land than what they originally were slated for. And I'd say that's a good problem for a business to have, and it's a good problem for us to have.
Yeah,
Commissioner
I
Smith?
just wanted to echo the rest. I'm sure everybody on this board appreciates you as well. Appreciate you coming into East Milton. I mean, it's a great privilege to be trusted with changing a business location from one area. As long as, I remember being a kid in high school buying Damien's ice cream in the parking lot at Pine Forest High School years ago, and it is a tradition for that side, but we're so happy to have you come over here. And, like I said, I was a Pensacola boy too, but now I'm in East Milton. But thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Commissioner Smith, do you remember the frozen lemonade in orange?
Yeah.
Man, that was the thing I looked forward to at Workman Middle School at lunchtime, was going in there and getting the frozen lemonade.
Yeah,
That
the
was
frozen
Damon's.
lemonade. Yeah, I
It's
know.
the
I can
best
taste
stuff.
it. I can taste that to this day. I hadn't had one.
And it
in
was
years.
real lemonade, right?
It was real lemonade, yeah, real lemons.
Yeah, and it had a little, yeah.
Oh, it's good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
And poised to make its triumphant return, by the way. It's been mothballed for just over 2 decades, and there's a chance it's going to be reincarnated and released this winter. So keep an eye open for the news bulletin when it comes out.
I would love for my kids to get to experience the same thing I did. It was good
Yeah,
stuff.
as would we. Yeah.
And nothing's ever matched up to it. All right. If there's no questions for Joe, I would move that we move this to Thursday's consent agenda to approve to accept the bid, and I do so without objection.
Thank you.
Seeing none, we're so moved. All right, item number 6, the add-on item. Approval to draft and submit a letter of support for regional project between Visit Florida and Northwest Florida Tourism Council to expand, quote, adventure tourism in the Panhandle. Visit Florida will be the applicant to Triumph Gulf Coast and seeking $3.5 million per year for a total of $10 million to raise awareness of adventure tourism for families. Visit Florida and Northwest Florida Tourism Council are both contributing $500,000 per year, and Santa Rosa County's Tourist Development Office existing marketing budget for the current fiscal year, along with in-kind staff resources, will count towards the match for the Triumph grant. Gentlemen, I think you've heard me talk about sports tourism before and how I would love to see Triumph dollars be used to help diversify our economy. And we're at a point now where it sounds like the Triumph Board is open to those ideas. So I think this is a huge opportunity. It could open the door for a lot of other investments and grants in the future. Are there any questions? I know this is an add-on item. It's kind of last minute, so Julie's here to answer any questions. Okay. Seeing
No questions here, just got a lot of support for it.
All right. In that case, we'll take item number 6, and we'll add that on to Thursday's consent agenda, and I'll do so without objection. Seeing none, so moved. That concludes Economic and Tourist Development. Commissioner Parker, Administrative Committee is yours.
Thank you. We've got a list of events there you'll see on the agenda, give or take about 10. Are there any questions or concerns about any of those events that are listed? Hearing none, I recommend moving those to the consent agenda for Thursday without objection.
So moved.
That concludes Admin Committee.
Short and sweet. Development Committee, Commissioner Calkins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item number 1, engineering, Lancelot Townhomes Phase 1 final plat. Any question or concerns by the board or the public? Hearing no questions or concerns, I'd like to move this item to Thursday's consent agenda, and I do so without objection.
So moved.
Item number 2, engineering, Pace Water System Drainage Easement. Any comments or questions regarding this item? Any comments from the public?
I'll make one quick comment that this is part of the Woodbine Road Highway 90 improvement project, and I think that's something everyone should be happy about.
Fantastic, absolutely. All right, any other comments by anybody? Hearing no other comments, I'd like to move this item to Thursday's consent agenda. I do so without objection.
So moved.
Item number 3, engineering, real estate services. Any questions or concerns regarding this item? Any comments from the public? Hearing no comments, questions, or concern, I'd like to move this item to Thursday's consent agenda. I do so without objection.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That concludes the Development Services Committee.
All right, Operations Committee, Commissioner Smith.
First one is Peter Prince Airfield Landscaping, approval of the contract award to Green Energy Contracting LLC in the amount of $74,250. Is there any conversation about that one? None amongst the public. I recommend we move that to the consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
Second item is Northwest Florida Water Management District amended grant agreement for beneficial reuse strategic plan phase 4. That's an approval to execute amendment number 1 to the grant agreement with Northwest Florida Water Management District to receive an additional $2.5 million for the Navarre Ribs project. Is there any discussion amongst the board on that one?
No, just say that it's $2.5 million in addition
Yeah.
to help get water out of Center Rosa
Yeah.
Sound, or effluent out of the sound.
That's a big one.
Yes, sir.
It's another, there is so many good things that go on. The third, and I'll recommend that one to, did I do that motion? Yeah.
You are now.
Recommend that one over to the consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
Number 3 is a task order for central landfill vegetative grinding. We do that on a yearly basis, $168,255 to perform the grinding. Do we have any discussion amongst the board on that? Any amongst the citizens? Recommend to move that to the consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
The fourth one's the vehicle surplus. It's a transfer request to take an old 2007 Ford Explorer from Public Safety. It's probably got 500,000 miles on it, and give it to East Milton Fire Department for their use because it's outside of our usage. We have any discussion amongst the board on that one? None amongst the citizens. I'll recommend we move that to the consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
The fifth one's the Animal Services Veterinarian Contract Renewal for Dr. Joel Williams to renew his contract for the next year. Yes, through September 30th of 2024. Do we have any discussion amongst the board on that one? Any amongst the citizens? I recommend we move that to the consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
And the sixth one is contract renewal for traffic signalization and street lighting maintenance. I think that's with Ingram, is that correct? Yes, sir. Yeah. Got any discussion amongst the board on that one? Any amongst the citizens? I'll recommend we move that to consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
7 is contract renewal for road striping, for approval of the 1-year contract renewal with Gulf Coast Traffic Engineers. We have any discussion amongst the board on that one? Any amongst the citizens? I'll recommend we move that one to consent agenda without objection.
So moved.
And last but not least, task order for Madura 5-pump station rehab design. Approval of a task order to Mott McDonald in the amount of $51,985 to provide a design service for the Madura 5-pump station rehab project. Do we have any discussion amongst the board on that one?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, thank you to Andrew Hill and Michael for your efforts on this. So here we are, we're talking about flooding, right? This lift station, I didn't even know this lift station existed. I thought that most lift stations were all for sewage. And it turns out this is a stormwater lift station. If you're familiar with Madura Road, it floods, but it's tidally influenced. So the road is so low that it's basically the same level as Center Rosa Sound. So there's a marshy area there, and I get calls from time to time about there's water in the street, I can't get out of my driveway. Well, there's no way to fix that, right? I mean, it's when the tide increases or we have a storm surge, it fills up the street. But this lift station is a little further north of that, and when we have heavy rainfalls, they are able to pump some of the rainwater out of there and move it to some ponds that will make its way back out the sound. So it doesn't solve all the problems. There's no way we're going to fix a tidally influenced road. I mean, the only thing to do is build up. That's why a number of the homes there are built on pilings. But good on staff for realizing that this lift station was in disrepair and needed to be addressed. So I just appreciate staff for doing that, and just put that out there that, once again, staff and the county are certainly doing things to mitigate flooding and addressing our stormwater concerns. So thank you.
Thank you. We have any discussion amongst the board other than that? Any amongst the citizens? And I'll recommend that to go to the consent agenda without objection, and that wraps up my report, Mr. Chairman.
All right, so moved. Budget and Finance Management Committee, Commissioner Eddington, floor is yours.
Yes, sir. First one, approve a submit grant application under the FY 23-24 Flood Assistance Grant Program to mitigate the risk of flooding at National Flood Insurance Program. Insurance for if any questions from the board, citizen? If not, I'd like to move that to Thursday, since without ejection.
So moved.
Second, approve all checks registered for October 20th through November the 2nd, 2023. Any questions about that? The public? If not, I'd like to move that to Thursday, since it's in without ejection.
So
And
moved.
also, sir, I'd like to say one thing. You know, I've go around every day I'm in Milton saying hello to the people. Good morning. I want to start something new this month. I want to wish everybody in the month of October a happy birthday to everybody that works for the county. I'm going to try to do that, meet them or email them, wish them a happy birthday for each month. And I think that's something I want to do, because I know it would mean a lot to me if somebody would reach out and say, hey, happy birthday. And I hope y'all do the same, take that up and move forward with it. And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Eddington. I always appreciate your willingness to, and your desire to make sure you let, the employees of this county know how much they mean. I appreciate that. And I tell you, they all look forward, I think, to having you stop in and say hi to them. And, but just don't take them away for their work too long, right? I mean, they still got to get their work done now. So, but thank you. We'll move on to the board reorganization, and just a reminder that I won't be at Thursday's meeting, but the agenda is going to be awfully short and sweet, other than a couple presentations at the beginning. Let me just say it's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to serve as chairman last year. I know there was 4 of us that were at an event today, a joint chamber luncheon where they did the Military Affairs Committee. And we got to hear Commander John Fay from the Blue Angels and Colonel Allison Black, commanding officer over at Herbert Field. And, Colonel Black made a comment when she got up to speak that it really resonated. It was the difference in have and get, right? I know we all heard it, and I'm sure it resonated with everybody. The difference of saying, well, I have to get up this morning. I have to go to work. I have to put on this uniform. I have to come and pick up this gavel. I have to run this meeting, versus the opportunity and the privileges to get to do something, right? And she talked about, her, the airmen out there on that base, and explained to them, you get to put the uniform on. You should feel happy about doing that every day and having that ability, because there's some people that can't. The ability, you get to get out of bed and you get to go to work. You get to walk. There's other folks that don't get to walk, right? So that was just one of those reminders that, there's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure. But I tried to never look at it as I have to go to another meeting. It was, I looked forward to, I get to come here, I get to serve, I get to help Santa Rosa County, and I get to help lead these meetings in a way that I hope you gentlemen feel has been fair, consistent. I know it's been difficult at times. I know there's times I've been accused of all kinds of things and being too firm, but I felt like we're able to get the county's business done in an orderly fashion. And I think that's what we're here to do, right? When we're in this boardroom, they don't have to be belabored long meetings. This is where we come in and do the formal stuff. The rest of it happens with staff and with stakeholders, behind the scenes, meetings, really hashing everything out before we put something together, come in and do the final vote. So I just want to say I appreciate you gentlemen for bearing with me for the last year. It's been an honor, it's been a privilege, and I appreciate the citizens, both those that agreed with me and those that disagree with me, for giving me the opportunity to serve. With that said, I guess as chair, I'll kind of lead off, and anyone chime in with any of their own thoughts. Kind of went back and forth in my own mind about this. You know, historically, you would not have a commissioner that had gone through, you know, a tenure and not have an opportunity at the chairmanship. We also have a vice chair that normally the vice chair would take over that position. That's customary. I know last year we did something different, and I hope I served with dignity and honor here. Given the circumstances, given that we still have two relatively new commissioners on the board, it would be my recommendation that the vice chair, Commissioner Parker, step up and become chair, and then can select a vice chair, or the board can make motions at that time. And I'll just make that motion, and without objection, that Commissioner Parker become chair for fiscal year 2024. All right, seeing no objection, Commissioner Parker, I'll swap spots with you. All right, well, I'll slide that your way.
I just want to take an opportunity to say most of people in the public don't understand, because you just don't see. It's kind of like you don't really know what all a preacher does outside of Sunday if you hadn't either been a preacher's kid or spent some time with a preacher. I want to say I am thankful for Commissioner Wright being the chairman for this past year. It was it was a difficult decision as far as kind of getting there, but I think it was the right decision. It was an opportunity. Yeah, there you go. I did not even mean that play of words. But I knew the time involved, because as you said, I had the opportunity to serve in fiscal year 2019, if I recall right. And I remember, as you were probably a little surprised, I'm assuming, after your first set of meetings as chairman, and staff tracks you down and puts a stack of documents a foot tall on your desk and says, "Here, these are for your signatures." And it's easy to vote on things and say for the chairman's signature, and you kind of forget that the guy's actually back there signing it. And so
I've had Shannon chase me down,
yeah,
track me down in another county to go sign documents.
Yeah, one thing is, as chairman, you'll figure out if you like a pen or not, because you're signing. Sometimes it feels like hundreds of documents, but no, there's, the level of time and investment that I know that you gave this past year, and you didn't do the bare minimum. I can say, I've been fortunate to serve with a lot of commissioners, and I know you really went out of your way to take time to not only do things with Shannon and Julie and our staff and with our budget department, and really make some efforts to bring us forward. And you served with honor and dignity, and the highlight of the fact that you cannot be in any leadership capacity, whether it be a commissioner or especially a chairman, without rubbing some folks the wrong way. Like I said, if you don't have a church, you find a preacher and ask him if he doesn't get dirty emails from congregation members, and I guarantee he does. So I just want to say that I appreciate your willingness. I appreciate the dedication that you gave this past year. I know, fortunate enough, obviously, to know your family, and I know you spent a lot of time away from your family, away from your business this year, that being chairman really does. It draws a lot of time, more so than just being a commissioner. And so I just really wanted to take an opportunity to tell you that I appreciate how you serve this county. I appreciate things that you got in motion, especially with our economic development department. And I just appreciate the opportunity to be right there beside you as vice chairman, and thank you for your confidence. Thank you to my fellow board members for your vote of confidence as far as having the ability to move us forward into a year that surely will have its own tumultuous times. I know we'll, have to go through the opportunity of having some folks serving on a canvassing board, and we'll have those issues, and I'm sure we'll have challenges. Hope and pray that we don't have to face any major natural disasters or other things, because those are, again, things that you get thrust into as a chairman that a lot of times you just don't expect, because it's not something that you normally do as a commissioner. But appreciate the opportunity, and I know it's a lot more time with staff, so hopefully they can tolerate me and as we go through it. So I have thought about the opportunity as far as in preparation in case that I was to become chairman tonight, and I do think you probably said it way better than I had thought it in my head, as far as the opportunity of, I never wanted it to seem as a negative or a sly. Again, it was a decision for the time and the opportunity, but I do think with having Commissioner Calkins be on the board for 3 years now, and that opportunity to kind of get back in sort of that leadership track of preparing to become the chairman, I'd like to ask for the board's support in naming Commissioner Calkins as vice chair for the upcoming fiscal year, and I'll do so without objection. All right, hearing none, Commissioner Calkins will be the vice chair for the upcoming year, and I know there'll obviously be times, especially with a few of the things I'm involved in with the Florida Association of Counties Trust and some other things that we'll be glad to have you there and running the meetings. And so I would say I appreciate your willingness. I guess I didn't really even ask you, but anyway, appreciate your willingness to serve. And he'll tell you it's kind of like TPO. If you're not there, you definitely get nominated. But Commissioner Calkins, do you have any comments? I want to afford you the opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to say that it's an honor. I appreciate serving with all of you. Commissioner Wright, you did a great job. I mean, it was a rough year. This whole year was, a lot of different issues, a lot of debate by this board, a lot of fights by us, and I think this is a new chapter. I've had an opportunity to serve now with Commissioner Smith and Commissioner Eddington as new commissioners. Well, now y'all are moving on to senior. I mean, and it comes quick. I mean, been here 3 years, and Commissioner Parker, I remember when he first ran, and I believe you'll make a great chairman. I remember when you were chairman before, and it's an honor to support you as chairman. But I think we need to give. I remember on past chairmans, we definitely need to do a little photo op with Colton here, Mr. Chairman, and get him one of those, chairman things. I remember we did that for Dave and Bob back in the day, and we got to keep those traditions going. And I really believe God is in control. He lets everything happen for a reason. I think Commissioner Parker did make the right decision a year ago to back Mr. Wright. And I think it was a good year, and heck, I've had some time to learn a lot in those years, and all of us had some time to learn how to deal with our new commissioners on the board, and we got a lot of good things going on in Santa Rosa County that we talked about tonight. We didn't really talk about a whole lot, but you look at this agenda we had tonight, so many good things are happening in Santa Rosa County, and so it's an honor to serve with every single one of you, and I appreciate everybody.
Thank you, Commissioner Calkins, and I will say that is a tradition. I wasn't sure if the fella had earned it, but I'm scared if we give him a gavel, he might bring it out here again. But no, it is with truly humbleness and gratitude that I'm able to present you with this. And so we got you a plaque for thanking you for your time that you served, and we'll give it to you, and we'll get a picture of you holding that there. I do want to note too, if you look at Commissioner Smith, I feel like he started a trend. I started growing my beard out when he became chairman, and then me, and now he's lost his razor, and so he started a trend as
Just gotta keep it tight, just keep it tight.
No, I'm going full Moses.
Thanks. I forgot about this. Thank you. It's been an honor.
Thank you.
We're gonna go out right here. The only other thing on the agenda is just the meeting list that you'll see. We've got, obviously, for the upcoming, are there any questions or concerns about the meetings? The only thing on this month, obviously, is we've got meetings on the 8th, and then we'll be back here again on the 9th. So this Thursday, we'll have obviously the regular meeting, and then the zoning board has their meeting. As a reminder, we don't have a special rezoning meeting for this month. That'll be in December, and obviously, and not only keeping with the tradition, but the fact that Thanksgiving does fall on the Thursday, we will not have a second set of meetings in November, and also in December, we will only have one set of meetings, and that way y'all can spend time with your families, but also it's very important for our staff to be able to not have to be drugged down here. They need to spend time with their families as well. And any further questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I
Commissioner
want to
Eddington.
comment. It's been a pleasure as you being the chairman. I've learned a lot from you and Mr. Parker. I do listen, you know that, and I take a lot of notes, but it's been a pleasure for you being the chairman. I appreciate what you've done. And I'm looking forward to working with Mr. Parker and Mr. Calkins.
Thank you. It's been my pleasure. Only thing I would add is just I'm going to tell everyone out in Santa Rosa County and staff and everyone to have a happy Thanksgiving.
Commissioner Smith?
Yeah, I want to echo Commissioner Eddington's sentiments about you. I'll get personal. Colton, it's been a pleasure. It really has. It's been a pleasure, and I've learned a lot, and I've learned mostly about you. You're a good man. You're stand up. You stick your nose to the grindstone. You're very dedicated to what you do, and I sure appreciate it. I do appreciate it, and the changes you've made as far as the function of this board, I think there's been a good success for them, and I truly hope that we're able to continue to improve. So I thank you, and we'll keep seeing you.
Yeah, he did so good. I was trying to do a coup to nominate him again, and Mrs. Wright said she wanted her husband back. So we do appreciate you, and hope you have a much needed vacation with your wife coming up. So with that, the meeting's adjourned, and I'll see you gentlemen on Thursday.